For generations, the tradition of masquerades has been part of the cultural landscape of the Igbo people of Nigeria. Masquerades are cultural or religious events that often feature masked dancers embodying various spirits. Masquerades are believed to be representatives of the ancestors of Ndi Igbo. Igbo people honor these ancestors with annual festivals. Some of these festivals include New Yam Festival, Obon Festival, popular with the Mbani people of Imo State, the KG Festival, popular with the Zogu areas of Imo State, and others. Celebrations occur all through the year, with some timing variations among Igbo communities. During these festivals, the venerated ancestors are believed to join in the celebrations by re-emerging from ant holes as different forms of masquerade. Christianity is dominant in Igbo land and has always condemned masquerade practices as fetish and pagan in nature. Over the past 15 years or so, there has been a strong revival of young, most Christians participating in masquerades. I became interested in conducting a study to understand why many young Igbo people are engaging in masquerade practices despite their conflicting Christian affiliations. My research found that regardless of their faith, these young people fully identified with the masquerade celebrations. They believe the festivals to be cultural revival exercises, whether Christianity approved it or not. However, these are certain implications for Christians and the community church members publicly indulging in masquerade rituals. They cast Christianity in a negative light. Also, some aspects of masquerade celebrations are still rooted in barbarism. A great example is the indiscriminate flogging of passers-by during masquerade processions. This casual violence has no place in today's modern world. Over the past 4 years, I've conducted field work on youth participation in masquerades in Igbo land. My focus research areas included Mbano and Arondizog, all in Imo State. I conducted interviews with young people from these towns about the resurgence of masquerade practices and the revival of interest in these cultural traditions. I also observed many masquerade celebrations in these towns, noting a strong youth participation. These young people say they are purely driven by cultural revival, as masquerade represents an important element of the local culture. They aren't wrong. In the 19th century, Christian Western missionaries arriving in Nigeria had very little regard for the aspect of Igbo culture, especially the parts involving spiritualism and idol worship or ancestors worship. The missionaries were averse to it, condemning the people's cultural practices and replacing some of them with imported dogma. In the 1980s, local masquerade practices suffered another setback with the emergence of Pentecostalism in Nigeria and Igbo land in particular. Pentecostal teaching emphasizes the work of the Holy Spirit and the direct experience of the presence of God by believers. It was in direct conflict with masquerade practices. Traditional culture was therefore branded as paganism and strongly discouraged. In the 1960s, African theologians began to question the Western forms of Christianity in Africa. These leading theologians and scholars began to adapt local Christian practices to fit into existing culture. Worship began to take on some of the features of local context. A good example is the manner in which worship was conducted in church services and mass celebration. Igbo vernacular, local drums, and homegrown melodies gave Christianity an African touch. This process is called enculturation, and it has also helped the masquerade revival. During my fieldwork, I found this to be part of the reason for young Nigerians' reversion to masquerade practices, particularly within the Roman Catholic context. Some of the youth see a relationship between enculturation and their quest to revive masquerade in Igbo land, since both are forms of cultural revival. This shows Igbo's cultural resilience. Young people are taking on the responsibility of preserving their tradition, despite lacking government and organized support.